Alright, well I'm streaming now. Let me just reset the console. Everything coming through alright?
Yep, just started rolling.
Alright. Then give me just a second. Just giving us a good old Twitter post. And as soon as the game starts up, we should be good. Oh jeez. Skipping through the preamble.
Just a quick reminder to those who are watching. We do have some donation incentives coming up. We're going to have Learn English in Hungry Pumpkin. We've got... That's the main big one coming up shortly. There's also Alcatraz Prison Escape Glitch Demonstration. We've already met the glitch demo incentive for Sly Cooper, so that's going to be a thing.
Oh, lovely.
And if you want to drop some larger dosh, there are such things as the bonus final game and Extreme Secret Ultra final game.
So let me play around with some audio here real quick.
All right, I'll turn it over to the co-host, and good luck on your run, man.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I've got someone with you. I'm just trying to talk to them. Get ready on counting them times. Yep. Yep. Alright, so, people who are watching, welcome to Codename Kids Next Door, Operation Video Game. I'm Steb, I'm going to be running this today. And, without further ado, there's plenty of loading screens, so I'll have plenty of time to explain things as we get into the run. But for now, on we go! Now, the first thing I'm going to mention is that well, I've started the timer too early, but normally we time it after we get out of this loading screen coming up. But the first thing I should mention is that that timer is basically purely for show. We time this game using end-of-level in-game time. As far as I know, it's completely accurate. It just cuts out the loading screens, which are a long-ass time, considering this is a PS2 game. Well, I say that's how we do it, that's how I do it. This game basically has one runner, and that's me. There were some of us in a Discord when we were early theory crafting, getting some glitches going, but I'm pretty much the one who's doing the full game run, so shoutouts to the Discord. And here we go, this is the tutorial level. Basically, the Toiletnator here, who is also going to be with us for most of the run, has kidnapped the rest of the kids next door, and we think we're in a training mission, when in actuality we're out here fighting a genuine supervillain. This is a recurring theme of the series, is that this guy is basically the lamest villain in the show. So the games just teach us how to dodge, fire our weapon, do super attacks, and super attacks are something that are very important for most of this run, and you're gonna see that pretty quick as we move into the actual boss phase here, when that second one hits. And do we get the good RNG? No, we don't. We gotta go to him. Oh, okay, that's not too bad. Now, look what happens to his health bar when all three of these shots hit. Actually, we're gonna miss. That's the first time I've messed that up. And... okay, that could have gone a whole heck of a lot better, but it did. So yeah, now we're gonna get these rainbow monkeys, and once we get these, that's gonna be the end of the level. And I'm not gonna bother splitting, there's no splits here, I just wanted a funny image, okay? That's the end of that. And the time is 1:03. I'll put down a minute and 3. Okay, and now that that's done, we, as soon as it auto-saves, we skip the cutscene, and then a loading screen happens. We're going into level 2, the first proper level of the run, which is... that was Operation Tutorial, and this is Operation Donutty. They all stand for something. Everything in Kids Next Door is an acronym. The episode titles, the names of everything, they're all, like, pretty silly, just fun acronyms. And we've got a few acronyms of our own, because I have a bit too much free time on our hands. Pretty much every major skip in this run I have given its own Kids Next Door style acronym, so we'll see those when we get to them. And so
Should
here...
be fun to see. This is your co-host, Graciel. You can call me Kua for short, and I'll be taking over for Straw while he's doing other things.
Nice to meet you.
Same here.
So yeah, and now you're seeing why exactly we timed this with in-game time, because how long were we on that loading screen? A ridiculous amount of time. So here we are, second level, and first bit of movement tech. You ever seen, like, Ratchet and Clank, Ocarina of Time? Doing the same thing. We're just sort of locking onto stuff and diving through. And here we come to this oven area where, like, a fight is supposed to happen, and this is where we come to our first acronym, Kids Next Door Operation Wall. Wonky alignment lowers length. So there's supposed to be like a big fight here in a tutorial on number one's like grappling hook, but instead we're kind of just gonna... oh dear. Oh dear. I really should have practiced. This is the one thing I didn't practice. Oh god. Gotta reposition this guy. Normally you can just like slide in here, but we're gonna reposition this guy, try and nudge ourselves in there. Ow. Will you get in position, please? There we go. We just kind of... and we're in. Normally that goes a lot smoother. So that skips like a good bunch of tutorials. And now, you just press circle here. Get used to it telling us to press square to fire, by the way. That's not gonna go away as a result of us skipping that first fight. And now we have these things, which are horrible. These, like, lava donut things, which we have to jump on, walk on, and if you predict where they are, you can sort of move onto them a bit early, but you can't be too early, otherwise as they're coming up you fall straight through them and you die, and you have to do it all over again. So we're going to take it slow here, just gonna go the way the game wants us to, and as we get over this elevator over there, and we will escape the giant donut oven. This is a strange game, if you couldn't already tell. And here we are, going on to this, like, sort of fan room. We're going to hit a switch, and the fan at the bottom will start rotating at a very high velocity. And we'll be able to use that to get up to the top of the room. Yeah, hope you like this dialogue, by the way. Normally I turn it off, but I figured for Trashathon we should get the full Kids Next Door experience. Though half the reason I turn it off is because I like listening to music while I run the game, and I don't exactly want to get the entire VOD muted when a Kanye West song comes on in the middle of my 3-hour Japanese techno megamix. Wasn't meant to get that, but I got it anyway. This is like the only level, essentially, where we don't bother getting, like, the bonus super weapon, because in pretty much every level, if you collect enough of those spare part items, you get, like, a new weapon or a new item or something. And in most levels, they are extremely important to get. I think this level and the next level are the only ones where we don't bother getting them. So now we're going to hit this switch. We had a pretty clean fan segment, could have been a lot cleaner. And so that opens a door way back down, basically at the bottom. And we're going to just fall on down there. And whoosh. Nice and clean. I don't know what necessitated the whoosh, but we had a whoosh there. And now, yeah, we are in a river of donut batter, as number one was just saying. Gonna kill these guys just because they have projectile attacks, and that's not particularly out. They also have melee attacks, it turns out. And I am, just for safety, gonna get the health. Jump up there. Normally you like ledge grab there, so it's pretty nice and efficient that we didn't get that. That opens the door. There's some shenanigans you can do in here with the lock-on, but you can't exactly just be willy-nilly with the lock-on like that, because it locks onto any enemy, even if they're, like, exactly behind you, so we're going to try and get some backwards movement and going in here, which is a little bit faster than just straight-up walking. Normally you want that sideways movement, and this guy is still coming for us. He is committed. Normally they don't go this far, and where am I going? Oh, that's the other thing about doing the backwards jump, is you can't exactly see where you're going, which is one of the reasons I was never that good at the backstroke in swimming. I was always incredibly paranoid that I would bash my head against the side of the pool. I don't know how most people deal with that, but that's just something that we're going to have to deal with on our own time. Didn't get hit by any projectiles somehow. Normally, we take at least a bit of damage there, so that's a pretty good cycle. And now, as we get up here, we're going to be coming up onto the boss of the level, Grandma Stuff'em. Pretty much every level has an end-of-level boss. that like vaguely Eastern European sounding Russian lady is the main antagonist of this level. And we're going to go through here to get a bit of extra speed. And here's the boss. Piloting what the game refers to as the chunk wagon. Which sounds like something I would call my car if I had a little bit less dignity. Now immediately we're going to go over here, because the way this boss works is a cutscene's going to trigger, we've got to wait for the cutscene. Thankfully, it's trying to aim at us and is hitting this giant donut jelly machine. So it's going to do that now that there's jelly in the tank. Well, number one is explaining it, but basically, we put down a giant donut as bait, and then we drop it in the hole, and then we douse it in the jelly, and the jelly is so basically toxic that we can use it to strip the shields and be able to damage the boss. And now we're going to go over here, down in the pit, and then using this guy, we're going to move... Oh god, that's not supposed to happen. You took damage there, but it's fine. Now we jump over to Grandma to basically shove our face right up into the chunk wagon so that we can actually... so that we can make sure we're doing damage. Ow. If these guys get caught in the crossfire and die, then cool enough. And we can use charge shots here, but I think it's about the same DPS, and theoretically charge shots are a lot safer because they have a lot more iframes on them, but I'm not going to experiment with that during a marathon. It's not something I've looked into a whole heck of a lot. Oh, let me hit the switch. There we go. Thankfully, when we press the switch, it resets Grandma's position, so you see there she was like right on top of us, and now she's in the middle of the arena. Which is good. But now that we've done that, more of those sort of like tan donut batter enemies are going to start spawning, and their projectiles are going to be a real nuisance, so we're pretty much just going to have to watch out for those. Please hit the button. Thank you very much, number one. And then we get another one of these guys. Start jumping. We missed the pit that time, which is a lot better than what we had in the first cycle. There's 3 cycles to this boss, so after we do this a third time, she'll hopefully have gone down. Nope. Ow. I'm going to try and stay close to her so that our shots have less travel time on them, but we're also going to try and back up into the health there. Which probably means we're not going to be at the switch in time, and yeah, that is what's going to happen here. So... yeah, we can pretty much just do this one more time and then the fight is going to be over. The good thing about barely having anyone in my streams is that every time some new straggler shows up, I have another opportunity to rehearse explaining the run as it goes along. And I hope I'm doing a decent job of explaining it. I hope nobody's looking at the stream like, what the heck is this?
Well, the co-host thinks you're doing fine, so I guess that's something, you know?
That's reassuring. Thank you, my man.
No problem.
Ow. I'm getting a bit lost in my movement here, but I'm going to hit the button anyway. And if we just focus on DPSing Grandma down here, that should be the end of the level. Yep, just get right up in there. Ow. And here we go, and that's the level done with. That's one of the longer levels in the run. After this, we're going to be seeing a few more amusing skips. What was the time on that? 8:34. Wow, that was actually pretty good considering we botched the clip at the start. And I am going to real quick bring up a notepad app on my phone so that I can remember what the rest of the acronyms were called. Okay, there we go, got it up. Now up next we have Operation Boogification, where we're playing as number 5 here. Another villain, the Common Cold, has gotten into the treehouse and has basically covered everything in snot. And we want to unsnot everything, basically. It's going to be this is a lot shorter compared to the previous level. Number 1's levels tend to be the longest on average. Whereas number 5 and number 4, the 2 melee characters, tend to have shorter levels. Because yes, you do play as all 5 members of the Kids Next Door here. Tried to go for a, what's it, the side flip jumps there to, like, just get a bit more speed. But it's not quite reliable when you're jumping through the tennis balls, because they are actual, like, projectiles, and you can jump, like, in between them, but it's not very easy. So I'm just going to go for safety here. You get a bit of speed by using the jumping attacks on number 5 and number 4. So they have a little bit easier movement than, say, number 1 or number 3, who don't have those jump attacks available. So we're just going to navigate more through tennis ball hell, which is basically what this is. Got to get through the treehouse security systems, and then we'll be able to move on out. Did not mean to take that damage, but it's fine. And now we get introduced number 5's wall jump, which we're not going to be using too much in the run. It's pretty much just a case of getting from place to place. Can we get the good? Nope. That's the first time I've ever messed that up. But we got the good wall jump anyway. Now we go over here, hit the button to bring a platform closer to us. And up here, we don't have a name for this skip, because it's not really a skip so much as just a fun little thing we can do. What we're supposed to do is hit this switch to start these things from swinging, but we're not going to do that. Instead, we're just going to jump on over. That's actually surprisingly difficult to do. It's very easy to mess up, and you don't get you only get a few attempts at it before it starts becoming slower than doing it the normal way. So now we just wait for this to take us over. And as you can see, this level introduces electrified floors, which are unique to this level. There's a lot of mechanics that only show up in one level. And we messed up the box throw, so we're going to have to take the slow path here. It only loses about a second, but whatever. And now we're supposed to, like, go around as be bringing boxes around, but instead we're just going to damage boost through here. Cool. Do a couple of side flips, and now there's a cutscene showing off these lasers for some reason. Oh yeah, which also introduces this sort of stinky gas, which we're supposed to, if we get all 3 spare parts, we unlock the Smellmet, which is basically a gas mask. And now we damage boost through here to get the health. I know. Oh, we got caught in the stink. That's not good. Oh, we'll just wait that out. When we jump again, that's how you know we've got it good. Okay, and now we go through here. I know damage boosting to get health there sounds completely absurd, but it works, because all that matters is that we have full health going into this next segment, because there is a health kit up by... You're going to see this door coming up in a bit here, and there's a health kit there that we need to use as like an angle marker for Kids Next Door Operation Disco. Door impeccably sidelined. Oh, damn, I can't remember what the thing's called. I'm going to bring that over here. Door impeccably sidelined, causing omittance. There we are. There's your acronym, Operation Disco. Because this is a disco room, but we're going to be skipping the disco. Normally there's like a puzzle you got to do with pressing switches, but instead we're just going to find the right angle here. I think that should do it. And, oh. Nope, that ain't it. Is this it? Nope. I swear, normally I'm better at this. Okay. This is... Okay, yeah, this is the door. Am I stuck on the enemy? Is he through the door? Nope. You gotta be, like, a little bit in front of the thing here. In front of the health pack, that is. What the heck is going... Normally this works. I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. Is that it? There we go. And once we find the right angle here, we will just sort of zip backwards along the door and clip through it. At least that's what's supposed to happen. There we go. Almost went in the hole, because there's, like, holes along the side of the hitbox where the door is supposed to fall down. Because the door's supposed to, like, fall down and bridge a gap there. But that is not what happens. We got lucky there. Normally that skip goes a lot better. But marathon luck, I guess. That was, like, the one thing I didn't practice, because I thought I was good enough at it by now. Okay, well, either way, we get onto this elevator. Either way, I promise you, all that faffing about was faster than doing the entire, like, spotlight puzzle. But that still could have gone a lot better. Oh well.
Marathon RNG. It happens.
Yep. It's not so much RNG as angles being very specific, because angles and walls in this game are strange. There's a lot of misalignments, and there's only a few walls in the game where you can actually do that. That's one of them. There's another door in another level where you can do it, and there's a few places where you can do it where it's completely useless. And damn it, did that really just happen? Normally if you jump kick that enemy, it's like a one-shot, but we got interrupted by a bit of snot there. And we hit this, and the level's over. See how short that was in comparison? 5:28, still not bad at all. Oh, well, even if any times get missed, I can just go back through the VOD and work it out. Alright, cool. I mean, there is still a real time we want to watch out for. That the record in real time is something like 2:10:50, but in-game time that comes out to a 1:57 something. So those loading screens really have an impact. And now
it seems to be a common theme around PlayStation 2 video games. Loading themes are just a bit too long.
And anyway, now this is a shmup level. I know, of all the things to have, there's a couple of shmup levels in here, and they're all annoying. They're all basically auto-scrollers. There's a few things you can do to make it not take as long, but yeah. This is Operation Snot Bomber, where we're basically chasing the common cold in... We have a school bus that flies and has rockets on it. Did the game freeze? It's not supposed to sit this long at the end of the loading screen. I think the game might have froze. That's never happened before. I didn't know it could do that.
Uh-oh. Marathon RNG again. Strikes again.
I don't worry. I'll reset the console. I have a backup save. It's like, because the good thing is, even if you've completed the game, then if you go back and replay a level, it'll take you into the next level when you beat it, as if you were doing it on a fresh playthrough.
That's neat.
So I can, if I just go onto my completed file, it'll be like nothing happened. In fact, I could just use that completed file every time, but I just, for the sake of tradition, start a new file when you're doing a new playthrough. You know how it is. Oh, that's gonna hit the real time something awful.
It's probably faster than watching load screens in the long run.
Probably. So yeah, I'll do that, and I've just remembered I have the sound turned off on that file, because that's like my practice file. So I'm gonna have to go into the options menu, turn the sound back on. Load steb. Options. Audio. We're good. Wait for the save. Back out. Nope, don't go back into the options menu. Okay. Snot Bomber. Let's try that again. Maybe the game will cooperate this time. Gotta sit at this loading screen again. Yeah, I knew this game could crash. It's crashed in 1 or 2 places on me before, but I didn't think it could crash on a loading screen. My word. Need a drink. Here we go. That's what's supposed to happen. There's supposed to be a level. So yeah, this is a shmup level. And what we're doing here is just sort of charging our smart bomb, which is, considering we're fighting cold and flu-themed enemies, it's a wave of chicken soup, because of course it is. And we actually want to use that as little as possible. We're pretty much just using it here because our weapons are offline and it's like a tutorial. It wants us to use it. But pretty much as soon as this tutorial ends, we're gonna We're going to use it one more time to get the common cold off the screen at one point, and then we pretty much just save it for the boss fight. Because when we see how when we use it, the game like hitches a little bit, like the slow, like there. We don't want to do that because that adds up if you just spam it. And I hope you like number 2's one-liners. That's his main character trait. He has puns. Right, weapons back online. Oh, we got hit. If you get hit, then your shield automatically goes away. And you need the shield to be able to charge your smart bomb. So that's not a thing you want to have happen. It doesn't matter, there's plenty of health available on this level. So yeah, the common cold's going to show up here, and then this is going to be pretty much the last time we use the chicken soup until the actual boss fight with him about 10 minutes down the line. Because yeah, these stages take a while. There's only 3 of them in the run, so it's not too bad, but still. Did that just not go through? I think I used it too early. Oh well, it doesn't matter. He goes off the screen on his own after a bit anyway. Just so you can get him off a little bit early if you use the bomb. And most of the time the progression is not dependent on killing enemies, and even then you can kill them pretty quickly. It's only in the later levels where sometimes progression is dependent on killing certain enemies, and that's when they start becoming beefy. Ugh. And there we see the those 2x4 parts dropping. We want those. They don't give us any special items, but they, as you can see, they're giving us a lot more firepower. Like, they made us fire faster at one point, now they're giving us 2 shots, and the next couple are going to give us rockets. Because children have rockets. That's a thing that's happening. I mean, I guess they also have flying school buses, so I don't know why I'm complaining. I don't know why that's the thing I'm complaining about.
You may know how to pick 'em, but you sure don't know how to flick 'em. Watch and learn, booger brains.
One-liners. This is why I have the dialogue muted when I play, typically. Anyway. Yeah, there's not much else to say here. This is an auto-scroller. Oh, I should probably also mention, you can't just hold down square. Your shots stop after a while. I guess they wanted to keep you engaged. So you have to, like, periodically let go of and repress square. In the meantime, I guess we're collecting these guys. These rainbow monkeys. These have no purpose in the run. When you collect them, they unlock, like, secrets and, like, extra stuff that you can do. Like, being able to play as the enemies. They unlock, like, cheat modes and stuff. But for the actual purposes of the run, we do not need them. So, if we collect them, it's a happy accident, or just something to do in these stages. Here we get another one of these, and there, look, see we have, like, little rockets. Those do a pretty hefty amount of damage. But not that that matters, because pretty much aside from, like, 1 or 2 enemies later on, everything in the stage dies in, like, 1 hit.
Alright, you boogers, this guy's not big enough for both of us, so someone's going down. That's you or me, and it's not gonna be me.
Thank you, number 2. Thank you for your input. Number 2, if you couldn't tell, if you didn't know, voiced by, Benjamin Diskin, who you might recognize as Joseph Joestar in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in the English dub. He also voices number 1, where I'm pretty sure it's the exact same British accent that he uses. So, fun little bit of trivia out there for you, just to kill some time.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's a couple of famous decently well-known voice actors in this. Like, there's a boss you're going to be fighting later on, who's voiced by Mark Hamill, of all people.
Oh my gosh, really? That's...
Yeah, they got like everyone back from the show, which is, I will give this game some credit, as sort of trashy as it is. The execution is on point. It really does like feel like the show. Just a shame the camera and the platforming couldn't have been a little better. I played this game a lot as a kid, and I enjoyed it more back then. It was only recently I realized, hey, people speedrun stuff. What's a game I played? And I found this. I just recently started building my PS2 collection back up, because I got rid of my PS2 a while back, and then I decided to get a new one, and I basically went to every second-hand game shop in North London and just got whatever I could get my hands on. I think I ended up spending, it came out to an average of like £4 per game, something like that. Surprisingly cheap. This one I picked up for 50p, which is less than $1.
Yeah, nowadays you can pick up multiple games for very, very cheap and just walk down memory lane.
Yeah. I would have gotten the GameCube version to see how the load times are, because when I first started getting into this, my guy... Oh, I should have really made sure I knew how to pronounce his name. Noctre is how I'm going to pronounce it. He was the one who showed the wall clip in Donate, but he was playing on Dolphin, and the load times were way better. So I wanted to try and get my hands on the GameCube version, but it's like £10 on eBay, assuming I can find it at all. It's way less common than the PS2 version. It's also on Xbox as well, but I do not own an Xbox.
Yeah, typically what I found is that most PS2 games have much better load times on GameCube, like Sonic Heroes. I played a lot when I was a kid. That load time in that game was night and day.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I've heard particularly bad things about Wrath of Cortex is another one. I've got a friend who speedruns that.
Oh, man. Half that game is a load screen.
Oh, yeah. Even the PS3 as well. Like, I remember people saying about the Kingdom Hearts HD versions, the load times between the PS4 and PS3 versions. Oh, my word. I remember Biscuit, who's like a big KH speedrunner, said something like, compared to the PS2 version when the PS3 version came out, the any percent speedrun on Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix PS3 is like 40 minutes slower than the PS2 version just because of the load times.
That's absolutely gross. That's really gross.
I know. It's ridiculous. Okay, now the boss is going to be coming up here. This final cloud transition, this is going to be the boss. And we're not going to use the chicken soup right away, because in the second phase is when the chicken soup is the only thing that will damage him, so we want to save it for there to, like, skip a cycle. But for the start, we just have to get a good DPS in, because we have to hit his engines. So there's a lot of leading shots going on.
We're nose cone to nose cone. What's it gonna be, Snotty, huh? Is that booger frosted finger on the fire button or the eject button?
I think we're doing a decent job so far. I think that's Tom Kenny as the common cold. He's a couple of characters in this. He's also one of the later game villains in Knightbrace, who's basically an evil dentist. And he's one of the more annoying bosses in the run, just because the fast strat for him is basically dependent on whether or not his hitboxes decide to work. And that felt like a really good first phase, compared to some runs I usually get. And there we go. That's when we use the chicken soup we had saved up for the entire level.
Time to treat the common cold to a little of my mama's home cooking. Prepare to fire the chicken soup.
Yeah, they even say themselves, it's the chicken soup. Now, if we get hit by that giant snot ball, then our shields instantly go down. So that's what we don't want to happen, which is annoying, because oftentimes it's occupying, like, the same paths as the waves of, like, smaller shots that we have to absorb in order to damage the boss. So sometimes stuff like that happens where we would have been able to just unleash the soup right then and there, had it not been for the shot getting in our way. And now, yeah, instead of firing 2 waves per cycle, he starts firing 1 wave, which means it'll take a little bit longer to build stuff up. There we go. I think 2 more of these should be good. He also starts firing those, like, little bouncy ones, which will also take out our shields if they hit us, but they can be destroyed by our shots, so works out in the end. Yep, 1 more. 1 more ought to do it. One more, and there we go. What was that? 10:19. Oh my god, that's the fastest I've ever done that. Wow, fastest I've ever done that was a 1022, and I just thought that was because it was faster on emulator or something because of the frame rate. Yeah, so going decently, considering the level didn't load at first. Oh dear. And now we're coming up to the first number 4 level. He's one of my favourite characters in terms of levels. I mean, he's just a fun character in general. He's just like a little Australian guy who punches stuff. What's not to love, really? And what happens in this level is... it's later in the day, I guess. I'm not sure how time flows in the story, but here we see the treehouse has been infiltrated by Count Spankulot, who is a vampire, except instead of drinking people's blood, he spanks naughty children. That was a villain they put in the show. So yeah, he's turned all of our friends into vampires, and we've got to fight our way through the treehouse and turn them back to normal. Just got a cutscene here showing all our friends looking all evil and such. We skip the dialogue, because we don't care. We watch them go away again, because they're pretty much just here to taunt us. And now there's, like, security robots here. And these are our main enemies in this stage, but we just gotta punch them, essentially. We gotta be careful if we... we gotta be careful of not attacking these guys as soon as we go near them, because otherwise they attack as soon as they notice you. So if you go a little bit too gung-ho, then you'll just end up taking damage and ending up with egg on your face. And nobody wants that, do we? So what we're trying to do here now is get to number 4's room so that he can get a particular weapon, which is supposed to be mandatory to finish the stage, but you know how we are and how walls are in this game, so we're not going to do that. But I'll get to that when we get to it. We'll get there when we... That was me fat-fingering the super attack button, but oh well. Oh, he didn't die. Door opened anyway, but we got to clear out as many enemies from a segment as possible while still going fast, because these doors don't open based on enemies being defeated in a segment. They open based on enemies dead total. So yeah, we got this guy coming over. We couldn't quite open the door just with the enemies from that segment. We had to wait for one of the stragglers to come over. And now we just ignore these people, because thankfully the final door that we have to open does work based on enemies in a segment. And we're going to go around here. Bonk this guy. And yeah, these robots basically... they're just an obstacle. We just mash the square button in. And in we go into number 4's room. And what's supposed to happen here is we get all the pieces of the splanker, which is like a piece of wood on a magnet that smacks people, and then fight vampires number 2, 3, and 5. But we're not going to do that, thanks to Kids Next Door Operation Vampire, very aggravating mini-boss past implementing unreliable hole. And you'll see what the heck an unreliable hole is in just a moment as soon as this cutscene ends. Because the door leading out to where Vampire number 1 is actually very slightly misaligned and can be passed through if you get the angle just right. And getting the angle just right is incredibly difficult. I've known about this glitch for about a month, and I've only just found a reliable setup for it literally about 3 hours ago. And we're going to kill this guy, because otherwise he'll mess up our lock-ons, because we need to be locked on and facing a specific direction. Now to find the angle, you turn around, face straight ahead, get a little bit to the side, slide backwards. I hope I can get this. It's a little hard to do on console. Nope, didn't quite get it, but you saw that little flash of blue? That's the other side of the door, so if we see that, then we're doing something right. Nope. Nope. This is why I called it an unreliable hole. There we go, we got it. That is surprisingly fast compared to some of my attempts. I've had practice attempts where I've just been holding the angle there for 5 minutes without going in, with no idea what to do, until I found that setup. And now we're going to go on to Vampire number 1, and you might think because we didn't get the Splanker that we're not going to be able to damage him. But in actuality, even though number 4's regular attacks don't really do anything to him, it's actually faster to just do the charge attacks, because they can hit him more than once, because his hitboxes are weird. And we didn't get the 3 hits there, so that means we're not going to get the 2 cycle here, which is mildly annoying. And we missed again, but whatever. There we go. He says miss me, but we hit him more than once, so we did more than the opposite there. What was the time on that? 4:37. Very, very, very good. I think the fastest I've ever done that was 4:03, so the fact that we got a sub 5 with the new unreliable setup was pretty good. And now we're going into the first number 3 level. So what's happened now is everyone's back to normal, but it's nighttime and the power's all out because the hamsters, because the entire Kids Next Door treehouse is powered by many, many, many hamsters on wheels. And nobody else feels like picking them all up, except for number 3, because she likes cute, fuzzy little animals. So the goal of this level is to pick up basically all of the hamsters. Which sounds like horrible RNG, because they're all scuttling about, but there is a way we can bypass that. With Kids Next Door Operation Space, Speed Preventer accessed crazy early. And what we're going to do is hit our face on every single available surface on the way down. Sorry about the dialogue, by the way. So what we're going to do here is shove our heads underneath this pipe and clip into the void. And from here, we're just going to glide on over, because if you hold the X button, you can glide with this character. And we're going to glide over to basically about 2/3 of the way through the level. But we can't really do anything when we get there, because they did a very good job of making sure in this game that you can't get to a place unless you've done all the stuff beforehand. However, what we can do when we get there is get the gun. Because, yeah, you get a gun in this level. You get a freeze ray, the frappe, which is basically a weaponized ice coffee machine. So we go here. We drift over into the thing. Do we get the extra full damage here? Yes, we do. Getting that full damage is important because pretty much as soon as we get the frappe, we need to kill ourselves to go back to the start of the level. Which allows us to play through the first part of the level where we have to chase after the hamsters. Instead, we can just freeze them in place. How nice is that? It's not really it doesn't work out to being a whole lot faster, but it's a whole heck of a lot more consistent.
Kids Next Door, frappe. Freeze ray always paralyzes potential enemies.
Freeze ray always paralyzes potential enemies. See what I mean about the acronyms? So yeah, now we've done that, we're just going to throw ourselves off here a bunch of times until we sprain our ankle and have to go back for a plaster. Just a couple more. I think 1 or 2 more ought to do it. Yeah, 2 more. 1 more here. Oh, got the ledge grab. That's not very good. And we died. There we go. We're all sad. But it's all good because now we can go fast. We collected a hamster on the way down there when we smashed our face against the pipe, so now we just need to get the other 14. And there is a fastest, I have a route for this, but Lord knows if I can remember it. I haven't exactly committed it to memory yet, that's on me. And where the heck do I go from here? I really should have planned this out better. Okay, there's one. It's kind of hard to distinguish the hamsters and the rainbow monkey collectibles at a glance. Especially when you're this high above them, and they both just sort of look like tiny little splotches of colour. Okay, I think this is basically the route. I just had to take a second to get me bearings. There's no hamster over there, but there is one over there. We pretty much just need to get 11, because there's one right by the door at the end, and right before him there's a spot where there's 3 of them. So we get 9 there, and I always keep forgetting to land on this branch first to save a bit of a trip. 9, 10... And here is magic number 11.
There should be an elevator down here somewhere. I'll need to ride it back up to glide again.
Yeah, normally if you mess up, you can just get the elevator and go right back up to the top, but we don't need to do that, because hamster number 15 is right over here.
That was fun! I want to do it again!
And you can see there the animation's messing up. We're still in the glide on the ground, so it looks like we're just kind of swimming on some wood. And now, do a couple of strafe jumps, and when it'll turn to lock onto the hamsters, that's when we get stuff freezing. So yeah, normally we'd have to, like, chase these ones around, but instead, we just mash the square button, and we're good to go. And yeah, there's a couple more over here. So yeah, as you can imagine, because normally they run away the instant they see you, so normally this is RNG hell, but instead it's just a case of getting all the collectibles, which isn't nearly as bad.
Watch 'em run! The hamster's so much fun! They're so furry, and they scurry, and they hide and go peek! That's why it's fun to play Hamster Goes Geek!
I wanted everyone to get the full experience for the marathon. Again, I normally have the game muted. Oh, well, here we are. We've already had the game crash once, so I can't exactly apologize for it any more than I already have. And they pretty much all just fell on us there, off the jump pad. Thankfully, number 3 only has one other level, and none of the dialogue in that level is nearly as bad. And here we've got a nice, narrow hallway to go for some strafe jumps down as soon as I get the right angle. This isn't the right angle, I'll have to correct it. Oh jeez. Oh, and here we are. This is where normally we would have gotten the frappe. But instead, here we are, and now we pretty much just play the level like normal. Just gotta get the hamsters. You know how it is. It's kind of hard to get any decent movement in this segment because of... You'll get a decent angle and then your aim will just snap way over to the other side because a hamster decided to unfreeze.
Wouldn't it be fun to glide from way up on that ledge? Sorry, you have to stay here, but you can watch.
And now, we're pretty much out of hamsters down here, but instead we can go up, and that's where these ledges come in handy once again. Hit the jump pads that were introduced in the last level. And now we go way over... Now here's what I thought you'd have to do a bunch before we found that skip, was because they don't notice you when you're gliding, so you can just sort of descend on them like Batman or some nonsense.
Just a few more hamsters and you'll have enough power to use the elevator.
Ugh, get back here. Even when you can freeze them solid, getting the hamsters is still kinda tedious. So now we have enough power to use the elevator and go to the second part of the level.
Who wants to be the next hamster tickle? You? How about you?
Annoying thing with number 3, aside from, well, the dialogue, is that... oh, sorry, got something in my throat. Is that, because she's the only character in the game who starts without a gun and then acquires one, sometimes when you, like, when you land from a jump or hit a level transition, the game kind of forgets that you had a gun to begin with and just won't let you fire it even though it's in your hand. But I'm sure we all know by now how this game works, or doesn't. I know how you feel, number 4, but I'm not doing any better for playing video games. Playing video games is what led me here. Oh, no, oh, okay. Here we have another jump pad segment where pretty much the hamsters just go jumping around, but we freeze them all and we're good.
The power core is just down this hallway. Get there and you can power up the treehouse.
This has been a decent Hamsterama. That's what this level's called, by the way. Operation Hamsterama. Don't know if I mentioned that. Might have just glossed that over at the start. Who knows? And these things, you can just sort of run through these sometimes. Not all of the time, but sometimes. It works pretty much when the game feels like you can fit under there. So it's, again, the game's rules. Who knows what's really happening? And now this is the final area, which is... Oh, jeez. I didn't expect to... You have to get 25 hamsters in this room, and they are awfully spread out, so this is the most annoying part of this level, for sure. And we've got one right here. It pretty much just comes down to getting lucky and hoping that a bunch of them are all in one segment. Where did you just go? There you go, there's a couple. I think my game is lagging, which is weird. You wouldn't think this, of all games, would be what pushes the PS2's hardware to its limits. Oh, jeez. Oh, okay, we just got like 3 for nothing. The other side of the hamsters just kind of jumping and flying around everywhere is that sometimes they just land on you and you just get one for doing nothing. And now that we have 14, we trigger a cutscene for basically no reason other than to show that they go there sometimes. I wish I could skip this cutscene, but I can't. Get back here. There we go. Oh, that was another one? Get back here. No. There we go. Sick jukes. Sick like kids next door DM. Ain't nobody got nothing on my number. I'm a number 3 main. Oh dear. Okay, this is gonna be, these are gonna be the last 2, assuming we can get them both. Come on. Okay, we got one and the other. That'll be the end of the level. What's the time of that? Oh my! A sub 11. Wow. Note that down. 10:59. That's, I'm pretty sure, the fastest I've ever done that level. Wow. That went way better than I thought it was going. Okay, so now that that's taken care of, we now have Operation Spankarific, where if you thought Count Spankalot was just going to get away with turning everyone into vampires, the answer is no. Here we're going to go after him. This is one of the longer levels in the run. I think getting this below 12 minutes is notable, cause for celebration. I'm going to take a drink while this loading screen is happening.
If I could input, the one thing I really liked about Kids Next Door growing up was the creativity behind just the villains and the acronyms.
Oh, like yeah. Definitely. Now, what we're going to do here is try and avoid a cutscene trigger. Ah, we missed it. Yeah. Because normally these, like, spank vampire enemies are, like, immune in the dark, which is why we have to shoot the bug zappers to bring in light and make them vulnerable. It's like you're going to see here. Yeah, number 1 also mentions there that the power shots will be able to damage them in the dark, so if you hold R1 and hit the thing, then will you get in the light, please? Please, lock onto him. There we go. Now we go in here.
That kid is going to need a double cheek transplant if I don't stop that servant of spankiness.
And now what we're going to do is, before we save that kid, despite how urgent it might sound, we're going to go up onto the roof, because we need to go there anyway to get, spare parts. But also it helps us get a bit more super juice, because instead of luring that guy over to to the bug zapper because he has projectile attacks. And you ever tried luring over an enemy to get into basically melee range when they can just spam projectile attacks? It's not very easy. So instead we're just going to come up here and we're going to spam the power shots to just bring the guy down. Get a good look at this, by the way, the V.I.D.E.O.G.A.M.E. Get a good look at it, because we're not going to be seeing it for the rest of the run. We would have gotten it in Donutty if we'd gotten all the spare parts, but we didn't, and we only start with it here, and we're going to be getting rid of it in the next area, once we get the final spare parts and upgrade to the Scamp, which is a lot better, because you see how many shots I'm spamming here? Well, the gun that we're about to get can kill these dudes in one hit, which is lovely. And this is taking longer than usual, but he goes down in the end anyway. And now we press circle, and this kid's safe.
Aren't you number one from the kids next door? Wow, I gotta tell my friends. But, I think they're all getting spanked too. Any chance you can save their butts like you did mine?
Yeah, sure thing, kid. Now, in here we go. Get one of these. And then we go and get another one from the other side of the thing. Oh, game lagged when these dudes spawn. I don't know what's taxing the game so much. Normally it doesn't lag. And there we go.
Next door, scam, suit cam, and magnified photon laser.
We're making lasers out of a soup can. How did you... What the... Can I lock onto you, please? Can I lock... There we go. Now we can rescue this kid, and then we zip up here and get the other kid. I don't know what that dude was doing. Normally he never, like, moves away.
How dare you interfere with the hand of justice being administered to these naughty children? When my minions are through with you, you won't be able to sit down for a week.
Get a little bit of extra juice. And for some reason during this transition we can keep moving, so we're going to do that. And we can ignore this guy. We don't have to kill all of these enemies, we just have to get the ones that are hurting children. Truly a noble cause. It doesn't matter when we kill them, as long as we do it. Ow. Should probably get some health at some point as well. These dudes are chasing us, but we're faster than them. We don't got to worry about it. And then we get this guy. Now, we got to be very careful here, because the game can soft lock here, and it will require us restarting the level. And I don't know what causes it, but it doesn't happen that often, so hopefully we'll be alright. Oh geez. We're just using this guy as lock-on movement bait. Okay, thank God we didn't get the soft lock. Okay. Ow. Okay, we are actually in a decent danger of dying! Okay. This is slow, but I gotta get the health. Okay. Okay. Ow. Never mind, that only gives us like 2 hits, tops. Thankfully, most of these dudes were, like, on low health, so... Okay, we're good. We don't have to kill this guy. But we are going to be on annoyingly low health going into the final area here, because this isn't the whole level. There's, like, basically an entire other level. Like, after the... Ow! How dare you. One of these has to have health in them, please. I'm gonna die. I'm actually gonna die here. And one of these has to have health. Where's the health in this level? Oh, jeez. Oh, this ain't good. This is actually sort of worrying. Thankfully, when we charge up the... No! Oh, that's annoying, because now when we respawn, we're not going to have any charge energy. Oh, dear. Thankfully, we don't lose too much time, because there's checkpoints dotted around a lot. I don't know how I took as much damage as I did during that level. So yeah, we're pretty much just going to go out of our way to make sure that we're fully stocked up on enough energy for those power shots. Oh well, relatively minor setback. There's always things can be improved on. Ooh, very surprised he didn't hit us. Okay, so that happens, door opens, no health in there, and that's the transition to the next part of the level. And thankfully, in-game timer is not going to count this loading screen, which is nice. Ooh. Just having a stretch. Sorry about that. And now, we're onto this clock tower area. And this place sucks. We're going to see it again later on because there's another number 3 level that reuses these areas. And yeah, basically, we've got to go through 3 waves of enemies before we can actually fight Count Spank-a-Lot. So what we're going to do is, we've got enough, make sure we've got enough energy, and then we turn the lights, turn the spotlights on, and now we can fight the enemies. There's 18 of them roughly in this first area. And I was not counting how many I've killed so far. It's going to be about 5 or 6, but basically, once we've done that, we don't have to stay in that area anymore, and we can just make sure we're by the door for when it opens. Most of these dudes, I'm pretty sure, spawn on their own timer, so it doesn't quite matter how fast we kill them, but we still want to kill them quickly, just so they don't swarm us and do a whole lot of damage. Because we've taken enough damage, we've even died once unnecessarily so far. And yeah, we go through there, and we're full on energy, which is how we're supposed to be, so everything should be good. We're going to need that energy, because basically just for Spank-a-Lot, and also to take out these guys. The big guys that spawn. There's 15 little guys here, and there's 2 or I think 3 big guys.
Yes, my minions, let no bottom go unspanked.
Now these guys have different spawn rules here, is that their spawn times are actually relevant to when the last one died, so you want to get them off screen ASAP as soon as they spawn. This thing has an annoyingly low fire rate. And there should be one more dude spawning around here in a bit. There we go. Right on time. Now here there's going to be 18, roughly about 15 more little guys, along with 7 big guys in 3 waves of 2 and then one last one on his own. And it's going to be roughly after the 3rd or 4th one dies, these spotlights are actually going to go out and we're going to have to reactivate them. So we've got to keep an eye on that. Bring him down. Oh, he's alive. I did not realize he'd spawned yet. Should be roughly about now that the lights are going to go out.
All right, now you've done it.
Yep, there we go. That actually happened a bit later than I was anticipating. Normally it goes off before then, so I can't tell if I'm just on like a good cycle or if the game's just being not how I'm used to. Okay, some of the beam didn't connect there, so I'm really glad he went down.
Try this on for size.
Ah. Should have killed him a bit sooner, but oh well. There it is. And now we move on to the fight with Count Spankulot, who is normally pretty annoying, but we've got a pattern down for. So for pretty much every other enemy here, we have to turn the lights on. But for Count Spankulot, we're not going to do that. Whenever we hit him with one of these, he will teleport away. His teleport animation has iframes, so we pretty much time it so that we're winding up during the end of the animation, and then it'll hit him after the animation's over. We want to keep certain distances away from him. We want to be either really far away or... really close to him. Because there's one specific attack that he only does at about mid-range that we really don't want him to do. I might have already fluffed too many attacks. So I'm going to go for safety and turn the light on. Because he was only about one hit away from... triggering a teleport. But yeah, we're not actually really going to use the lights a whole lot more. And there we go, that's the boss taken care of. And what was the time on that? 12:40. Oof. Yeah, that death really put us back. Note that down. 12:42. Oof. Make sure we remember to skip the cutscene. And up next, we have another shmup level. Thankfully, this is the shortest of the 3 in the game. Just taking a moment. Making sure we're good and alert. And yeah, this time we're going up against pirates. Remember earlier when I said Mark Hamill was in the game? These are his people.
Kids next door.
So basically we need to collect 10 engine parts which are being held by certain like big ass pirate ships. First thing we're going to do is make sure that we have our thing charged up. Because unlike the last level, we want to be using the chicken soup a lot, like here. Because we want to burst these dudes down as soon as possible. And see that there, that engine block? We need to get 10 of those, which all drop from those ships. So this level's a lot more about burst damage than about simply waiting for a boss fight. There's no boss fight at the end of this level. So yeah, we're pretty much not going to be using our chicken soup unless there's like a big ass ship on screen, like this guy.
Full speed ahead, number 2. We can't let these pirates keep us from capturing Stickyville.
I'm just going to take a minute, make sure my thing's charged. And there we go. Got it. There's the guy. We should have been in a better position for that, but oh well, he went down. Make sure we don't miss the engine block there. That would have been a bit of a disaster. Just a minor disaster, nothing too major, but still probably quantified as a disaster.
The only sweet revenge around here, Sticky Beard, is gonna be mine. Served cold like the Arctic prison cell that's waiting for you.
Now we're going to not use it on this guy because there's going to be a second one spawning here in just a moment. So we're going to wait for both of those to be on the screen. There we go. Get the thing, and now we're in a position to shoot. There we go. Everything under control. Thing about these shmup stages is there's no real ways to speed them up, but there's a lot of ways to slow them down. It's incredibly irritating. Sorry if there's not much else to say about these. They are kind of just... Oh, there we go. Gotta make sure the rockets hit them. There's no real accurate way to time those, to time it so the rockets hit like as soon as possible. You just kind of get a feel for it. The thing I mentioned earlier about how the shots stop after a while if you just hold down the button, so you gotta keep pressing it. A good rhythm I find is that after 2 rocket shots fire, when the third one would fire, that's when you should let go and repress the square button. That way you're not leaving it too late and you're not constantly mashing the button, which actually, you can see there I'm mashing the button and it is slowing it down. The annoying thing there is that the spare part spawns right in front of you, which means your rockets start going out to the side, which means you can't DPS the ship down as much, but you can still DPS it down pretty quickly, so it's no massive loss. There we go. Now that we've got the final one, that means we get homing rockets, which are very good because it means we don't have to time our shots anymore. We can do stuff like that, and when the big ships die over us, it means that the engine blocks will reach us sooner, which is very good. That's what we want to have happen. The sooner we pick up the things, the sooner we get out of the level. I don't know what he was trying to say there, but we cut him off. And there we go, that's the end of the level. 6:02, wow, 1 second faster than the theoretical fastest I thought you could do that stage. Got it. Yep. And up next we have... That was Operation Tarpoon, by the way, I forgot to say it. I don't know what a tarpoon is, it's probably something, but I don't remember. And up next we have Operation Shipshape. Now that we're near enough to Sticky Beard's main ship. Sticky Beard's the Mark Hamill pirate, by the way, in case you didn't know. Now that we're near enough to the ship, we're sending number 5 on board. And this level is a stealth level. Yay! The good news about that is it means that we can hit dudes in their backs, and they will die in 1 hit. The bad news is they do a lot of damage, and we're not supposed to be seen. but we're gonna get seen anyway, because we gotta go fast.
Tarpoon is a kind of fish.
Alright. Tarpoon's a kind of fish, if you couldn't quite hear that. And here we are. This guy dies in one hit. And we're going to be abusing the super energy a lot here. Because, like, these guys are going to see us. And we're going to just do this. You can get the double hits that I talked about in the vampire boss fight as number 4. You can do that as number 5. But it is difficult. I'm not entirely sure how you do it. Are we going to get up here? Oh, whoops. Hit this guy. These guys might see us, but if we just move over here and get the thing, they're going to forget we exist. And now we're going to remind them they're going to see us here. We're going to sort of make them converge, and then they have not quite converged in the manner intended, but it's alright. We want to not take too much damage because there aren't any health pickups for a very long time in this stage. And sorry we're skipping through most of Mark Hamill's dialogue. Oh, is this the God Cycle? Oh, not quite the God Cycle. Oh, this dude saw us as well? Oh no, this isn't good. Okay, never mind, we're good at the game. That was a... Sorry, pardon the pun. That was a sticky situation that we got out of pretty handily. And now we've got a little platforming segment. There's these platforms here that are on a global timer. Can we make the cycle? Yes, we can. Sometimes you go too fast, you don't make the cycle, and sadly we've missed that cycle there. We can, in theory, jump around that and get a little bit of extra super energy while we're there, but we don't really need to. And we just don't quite make the cycle there, but we managed to be there right for the start of another one. Now we get up here. Do a couple more wall jumps, and there's going to be a cycle coming up where there's going to be a dude guarding a thing, and if I can kill him before a checkpoint triggers and a cutscene starts, then we're golden. I did not make it. Gonna get this guy. Wait for these guys to walk past so they don't see us. Bish bash bosh. Oh, he saw us. But it's all good. Those guys only take one regular attack and one super attack. Now we let this guy fidget about a little bit. Let him leave. Kill his friend. Kill his other friend. You can hit him through... Okay, that's a new one. I just messed up the jump. Okay. Learning today. And then we go down here to, mercifully, a couple of health pickups. This has been a surprisingly good shipshape so far. Now what we got to do is that health bar at the bottom is not a boss. That's just for the for our ship actually. That's our allied health bar. We got to kill all of these guys essentially before they can shoot our ship out of the sky. And I don't know if you can hear it, but my controller is vibing out like crazy right now. We're supposed to be stealthy here, but we're not going to do that. This is basically a giant, like, mob rush. We hit nobody with that. We tried to hit too many of them. Ow. And this has been surprisingly good compared to how this segment usually goes. You get this, and now it should warp us right back to the other end. And now for some reason we gotta go up and down on these things before the door will actually open and we can go and fight Mark Hamill. Just as a side note, I haven't been ignoring the spare parts in this level, there just aren't any. There's nothing for us here. So yeah, now we go up and down on a bunch of business. And then the door opens and we can go fight Mark Hamill. On the thing. And up next we're going to be... Actually, no, I'll talk about that trick when I get to it. Because there's a thing coming up in the next boss fight that I'm going to need to explain. Normally, the upcoming fight with Sticky Beard is like an RNG fest, essentially, but we can minimize most of the RNG by, one, just destroying the boxes that need to be destroyed ourselves instead of waiting for him to do it, and two, by utilizing Kids Next Door Operation Uppercut, undesired pirate portion avoided handily, citing underrated techniques. Now, here's the thing about the melee characters. Oh, by the way, we're about to just sort of swag our way out of the boss room, but we end up there anyway. Now, what happens here is both of the melee characters, numbers 4 and 5, have attacks mapped to the triangle button, and normally we never use them because there's no reason to. But it turns out in this fight, if you use the super move variant of the triangle attack, then on the Sticky Beard's second cycle, he just sort of forgets to reset. Here we're going to see him one time. See there, he takes 2 super attacks before he jumps back up and goes for a reset. What we're doing, by the way, is we've got to break the treasure chest so that we can unveil, like, a particularly prestigious... There it is. And now we're going to see, as soon as he goes for it... There, he took 4 attacks, because the game kind of just forgot to have him reset for a cycle. That was brilliant RNG, by the way, that candy just kind of being there. So yeah, the way you're supposed to do it is when he throws those giant, like, peppermints, normally, you're supposed to use that to break the boxes, but it turns out you can just punch him yourselves. I don't know if that was how they intended it to be done, but that's how it can be done. We're going to break that to get some health, and then we're going to jump on this one, which we've been doing to avoid this, like, giant AoE attack. And this will be the last phase, where we do the same things as the other phases. And, oh my god, brilliant RNG, this fight. And that'll be the end of that level. We beat Mark Hamill, and let's look at the time. If this is a sub 7, I'm gonna fucking scream. It wasn't, but okay, 7:15, not bad. Yep.
It's time for number 5 to kick his bedecked butt.
For some reason, the dialogue played over the autosave screen. Alright. And now we have the second number 3 level, Operation Brush Off. What we're seeing here is that villain I mentioned earlier, Knightbrace, played by Tom Kenny, the evil dentist. His latest nefarious scheme involves this new toothpaste here we're seeing a poster for, Bug Bright, which the idea is parents know their kids are brushed because their teeth are bioluminescent. Because that's totally safe. Anyway, the way he does this is by taking a bunch of fireflies and mashing them up into a glowy paste. And we, as lovers of cute animals, don't want that to happen, so we've got to go around rescuing them. Excuse me. Now, the first thing we're going to do is not get the cutscene skip. Great. Now, instead, we're going to go this way. This is how we're supposed to do it.
Follow me, firefly friend. This way.
We can only carry 4 fireflies at a time, which is irritating. It basically just means we have to make 2 trips for all of these.
Follow me, little fireflies. 4 of you at a time.
Now we're going to go up here. I said we're going to go up here. There we go. Get some spare parts. Get the thing. There we go. Finna boing. We don't get the ledge grab there. That saves a little bit of time. Now we glide over here using very poor depth perception to be able to get the thing. Get some more fireflies. I would be going for the side jumps here, but they aren't really faster as number 3 because she does like a little flourish when she does a side jump unarmed, which means she stops in place, so ultimately it's a good deal slower than just walking normally. Oh. Go up here. Get the thing, jump across the thing. Ow. Didn't mean to take full damage there. And if you could hear those, like, electricity sounds off to the side, those are Knightbrace's Denta drones, who will either be shooting at us or using their bug-bright afflicted shiny teeth to kill our fireflies.
Ultra-microwave-powered ejection rifle.
But we're going to stop them doing that with the Thumper, which shoots teddy bears at them. Now, the girl ones, they come back to life. Well, some of them do. But yeah, some of the girl ones come back to life. The boy ones don't. That's the important part. You can sort of.
So I guess we'll just have to stay away from those zombie things together.
Now we bypassed where she initially says I don't have any weapons, but now we do have weapons. So who's the smart guy now, game? Now we got to prioritize killing the boy ones first, because they will kill our fireflies, and that is incredibly irritating. It's also why we're avoiding these bug zappers, because you can imagine what they do to fireflies. Oh geez, I forgot there was 2 of them. I've only been practicing the last half of this level. So yeah, this is the one we'll see. Oh, I thought she came back. I swear I'm not going crazy. The ones later in the level, they will come back to life. Okay, got a good cycle there. Just dive past it. I managed to clip through that door one time, but it turned out to be useless because that door isn't actually a door to anywhere. It's just a loading zone that spawns when you finish this segment. And I've not been able to clip through any of the other doors in this area, so pretty pointless overall. And here we go. The segment done. Yeah, we just heard a good bit of Tom Kenny. And for some reason we get like a overarching cutscene whenever we enter a new area. That's just something this game does. I wish it didn't do that for time reasons, but it does, so that's where we find ourselves. And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. You may find yourself shooting dentist enemies in a field. And you may find
yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile.
And you may find yourself speedrunning not very good video games. And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here? Anyway, moving swiftly on, get up to the roof, get the last 2 insect MacGuffins, and we're going to be exiting this little section of backyard suburbia. Just gliding to safety, make sure we aren't over any lights, there we go. I have had this segment be ruined before by accidentally landing right in the middle of a light and having all of my fireflies just kind of explode on me. Which isn't something you want to have happen. Like, in real life, and also in the game. Oh, stuck on a peg. Now here's the part where you see what I mean. I'm gonna be killing these enemies, but they're gonna be coming back pretty much on the way back. Oh, stuck on a peg again.
Don't worry, Firefly. I never brush my teeth with Firefly buns.
Getting some decent strafe angles here. Oh, okay, there's the last firefly. Okay, gotcha. Oh, okay. See what I mean? You lock onto an enemy from like miles away, and suddenly that's just the direction you're going in. Nope, whoopsie. And this is going to be the last bit of the level before we go to another clock tower segment, which is an easy part of the level to mess up. I've been practicing it religiously. Ooh, avoided the light, lovely. The music in this game is very inconsistent, and I don't mean that in terms of tone, I just mean like it'll play one thing for like a couple of seconds, then it'll play another thing for another couple of seconds. I gotta get up here onto the roof. Got the ledge grab, not ideal, but we'll take it. Get both of these, make sure we don't get shot with electricity. And now we exit the backyards and move to the spooky clock tower. Or at least we'll be doing that in a second, once we get there. Don't want to speak too soon now, do we? Here we go. And just like last time, we got a load screen. Ooh. Gonna get another drink. How's everybody doing today?
I'll be doing much better once I get my Taco Bell.
Oh, lovely. I had Pizza Hut earlier.
Sounds good.
I've still got, like, a bit of a stuffed crust left in the box there, but I don't want to eat it because I'm self-conscious about eating noises on the mic. I guess that'll make a decent reward for finishing the run. Now, here's the clock tower segment, which sucks. It's very easy to mess it up, and messing it up requires, like, having to do another cycle. You can get... yeah. Oh, okay, we went backwards accidentally. Now, it's like number 3 said, we can carry 8 fireflies at a time, but for segments like this it doesn't really matter because we're going in groups of 2 anyway. 2 of these segments, this one and the next one, will require a minimum of 2 passes, but the other ones can both be done in 1. I've got to bring all 32 fireflies back to the thing in order to finish the level. And after this, we never have to play as number 3 for the rest of the run. Oh yeah, that reminds me, that number 5 level we just did, that's the last one in the run, so we're not going to be seeing number 5 anymore, except for some incidental dialogue. Sorry about that. Oh, ooh, okay, almost messed that up. Half the way to be fast in these is knowing when you can fall and when you have to glide, so you can hit the ground faster and get back to moving on another cycle. Like you see, this segment is basically vertical, so aside from a few glides to like course correct, you can drop basically straight down. Whereas this final segment is a lot more of a spiral. Now we can't jump from here, I've made that mistake before. Gotta go around to here and then... and this will be the end of the level. And there we go. Now we just watch a cutscene playing of all the fireflies escaping. And the clock tower... I can make the joke in a second when it does the thing. And the clock tower doing a revival-era Doctor Who regeneration effect. I mean, come on, that's what that is. And what was the time on that? 10:10. Oh, wow. Note that down, right? 10 minutes, 10 seconds.
Got it. 10:10. Sorry, I'm getting sleepy.
No, it's alright, I understand. It's pretty late.
Really clammy in here.
Yeah, I understand. Don't worry, there's only about another, I want to say half hour of the run left?
That's fine.
Yeah. And here we're moving on to the second of the 2 Knightbrace levels, Operation Cavity Cave, where basically we're tracking Knightbrace down to his main base of operations, And we're taking the fight straight to him in the final number 1 stage of the run. And the final pretty, like, major skip of the run. The final skip we have an acronym for. We have 6 acronyms in total. And this is the 6th. So as soon as the level loads, first thing we do is we turn right back around to find a spare part hidden just out of sight, which we need because we're going to be skipping basically half of the level.
He can control the spread of bug-bite toothpaste throughout the entire world, and only I can stop him.
Now what's going to happen here is normally you're supposed to clear out all of the enemies before you can start the platform moving, but sometimes you can get it early, and I'm not entirely sure how. So if you see me like standing near the computer and spamming circle pretty much to try and use it, then that's what I'm doing there. There's probably faster ways to do this, but I'm just pretty much like every time you get a kill, it has a chance to activate early. It usually doesn't, but okay, yeah, it didn't. We didn't get the early cycle there. Sometimes if you get it early enough, then the cutscene just won't play.
I'm not going anywhere without those passcodes. They've got to be around here somewhere.
Now, what we're supposed to do is go to 4 of these different chambers and get the different bits of the passcode to open up this door, but instead we have Kids Next Door Operation Computer. Cave obstruction mandating passwords utterly tarnished, enabling rapidness. There's your final acronym of the run. And what we're going to do here is...
And what a nice one it was.
Thank you very much. And basically, what we're going to do here is the same thing we did back... Remember how I said in the boogification disco skip, how we just sort of found the right angle and zipped backwards along the door and clipped through it? We're basically doing that again as soon as my clammy hands are able to find the angle and stick on it. Any day now. There we go. Took a little bit longer than I would have liked. Which is wild to say, considering that used to be incredibly unreliable. You used to be able to poke at that for like 2 minutes, and it felt like it was taking a long-ass time. But it was still saving a whole load of time. And yeah, here we, like number 1 was saying, a river of pure fluoride that we do not want to fall into, because they will cure all of our nice and horribly rotted to the core teeth. Now we're going to be safe there and stop to destroy the thing, because sometimes while trying to strafe backwards into the spare part there, I have fallen straight into the river, which is embarrassing to say the least. Gonna deal with these guys, deal with this thing. I missed a health pack there, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go for this spare part instead of one later in the run, which is a little more complicated to go for. Normally what we'd want to do is strafe jump around him, but it's alright. Doesn't matter as much. And yeah, this is where, like, enemies coming back from the dead is becoming the norm rather than the exception. Pretty much every enemy here you have to kill twice. I'm not doing as many strafe jumps here because I don't want to send myself straight into a river. I have done that multiple times and lost multiple runs to doing that.
Bug-bite toothpaste. Who cares if it tastes bad? It's for kids.
There's some good old Tom Kenny dialogue. And here we get the... as soon as I can pick it up.
Store V.I.D.E.O.G.A.M.E. Blasts aloft juicy overfilled orange cartons amazingly.
We got the orange juice bazooka. Which we're not going to be using on any actual enemies, because we've got sort of a gimmick segment coming up here. Where, I'll explain how it goes when we get to it.
That gate appears to have some sort of electromagnetic seal on it. I need to short-circuit it, but how?
I'll tell you how, number 1. You play Pac-Man. That sounds like I'm making a cheap joke, but no, that's what you do. Look at this. We spawn one of the dented drones here, and now we can actually take control of it. And we have to not get caught by the other ones, all making it to the other end. So yeah, we're playing Pac-Man. Oh god, got caught on an invisible wall. We have to send 5 of them through here, and normally what I'd do is I'd send one to that statue on the right there, where there's an extra spare part. But I'm not sure if it's actually faster, and can in fact be a great deal slower. Just moving over here to trick the AI into chasing me. Surprisingly easy to mess up, this area. Because every time you send them through, they have slightly different patterns. So yeah, just got to do this about 3 more times. Yeah.
Who knew controlling Knightbrace's dented drones could be so much fun? It's like racing a remote-controlled car.
Oh, whoa, almost flung it a bit too far and died there. That would have been embarrassing. As tempting as it is to go for like a fast path through there, 9 times out of 10 you will die doing it. I mean, if you die, that's pretty much like a 5 or 10 second loss, because it just sends you right back to where the drones spawn. But it's still a time loss, you know, I mean, come on. Now that time we could have actually made that cycle if some pissant didn't come straight through the path we were going to take. But oh well, we've got all 5 of them, and now we just have to send number 1 through to be able to get through the door and into the fight with Knightbrace. Which for some asinine reason has its own loading screen and takes away all of your super energy. I mean, I guess the Knightbrace fight is broken enough as is. I don't want to be adding supers into the mix. I'll show you how that fight is broken when we get to it in just a second. Now, even though there were invisible walls earlier, we can actually fall off here, so we want to be careful not to get hit while we're jumping over any chasms. Now, these dudes become active again, and that's the first time any one of them's ever hit me. But it means we can do something funny and lock some of them in with us. So now we're going through to the not to the final boss, but to the boss, the final segment of the level. For some reason we're wearing a blue shirt in this image, even though we've had a red shirt on for the entire game. I'm not entirely sure how that works, but oh well, I won't question it. I mean, I just did, but oh jeez. Just gotta stick through it. Waiting the loading screens out. This is the last, like, mid-level loading screen, so don't worry about that. And now we're in this place, which has the ambience of, like, a Dark Souls level. Like, I know it's a meme to compare everything to Dark Souls, but this looks like a Dark Souls boss area. That is until the part where a giant dentist chair comes out of the middle. Like this. Here's Knightbrace. This is the worst boss fight in the game. Not because he's particularly hard or anything, in fact even when you get it wrong he's still decently quick, but getting the fast strat pretty much relies on does his hitbox work, and it doesn't a surprising amount of the time. First thing we've got to do is he's going to use this drill attack, get himself stuck in the ground. And we attack him in the back, and we're going to get another chance to do that in just a second. If the hitboxes work. Now, if we get 8 hits in here, we can skip a cycle. We got 1, and it looks like we're not going to get it. Okay, 2. Yeah, you see, some of the time I was hitting him in the exact same place, but the hitbox just wasn't working. So that means we're not going to get the fast kill, which is incredibly irritating. See, watch, we hit him like 3 more times, and he hits like a damage threshold and instantly resets. And now he's going to do one of them attacks again. And if we can kill him during it, then that'll at least make up for it. I don't know. I have practiced this all day, and I still don't understand how this boss's hitbox works. This is like the worst possible Knightbrace you can get. And he's doing this attack again. I don't actually know his pattern at this point in the fight. It's a set pattern every time, but... Oh, come on. Don't... There we go. Oh my god. Terrible Knightbrace, but the rest of the level was pretty solid. We didn't have any unnecessary deaths, which normally we do on this level, embarrassingly enough. Alright, what was the time? Let's have a look. 9:45. Okay, so still not bad at all, in spite of everything. Getting the fast Knightbrace is only about a 20-second save. Note that down, by the way. Yeah, you got it? Alright, cool. And now we're coming into the final number 4 level, Overflow. And this is actually going to be the final regular level of the game. But that doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet, and you'll see why in just a bit. This is one of the shorter levels of the run, thankfully. It's the longer of the 2 number 4 levels, but it's still not very long. And now is a really bad time to have to pee. Oh dear. And here's our good buddy, the Toiletnator again. He gets his own level at long last. With walking toilet paper goons. Oh well, we've punched through worse. I didn't mention it before, but the reason why we don't use the strafe jumps as number 4 is because his jumping attack, remember I said the melee characters, their jumping attacks give you a little bit of speed? Number 4's one is way better than number 5's, and you can get a lot more distance out of it. And now we're just gonna, actually, we're not gonna bother iframing through that, we're just gonna deal with these guys. Because every time, you have to bring these boxes over to, ow, get out of here. You have to bring these boxes over to be able to jump through the hole, and every time you get hit, you drop the box. So, it's nice to be able to think that maybe you can just iframe through it, but in reality, the timing doesn't quite allow for it. So, you throw this box, and get ready for something incredibly satisfying. Normally I get a lot more enemies there, and it's a lot more satisfying. And normally this guy comes along and dies with all his friends, but instead he looks like he's going to be a goddamn poser. Couldn't think of the word there. Trying to be cool. Trying to not hang out with the crowd. Nonconformist, that's the word I'm looking for. Thankfully we can use the box to sort of block the shots, because the ones with sort of... I can't believe I'm saying this. The ones with shit stains on them, essentially, they have projectile attacks that we want to watch out for. We're getting a bit low, but thankfully there's some health. And now we're going to get up here, get this thing. Now here's the satisfaction. It didn't even make the noise because the game lagged out. I just want to hear like a mass death sound. That's all I'm asking. And now we're going to go get the health in advance, and then come back for the box. Normally we get to do this a little bit faster, but I guess the enemies just aren't cooperating today. They're being a lot more relentless. Thankfully we won't have to worry about that for very long, because we're about to get the best weapon in the game, and it'll kill these dudes in one hit. Can I make that? Yes, I can. Get the health. Now, there's a very amusing out-of-bounds glitch here that I wish I could work into the run because of how ridiculous it is, but sadly, it adds nothing to the run. So I'm not going to show it. Instead, we're going to do this level the way it's supposed to be intended, by fighting a couple of turd homunculuses. Homunculi? But yeah, basically, we skip the dialogue where number 4 complains about having to fight walking poo, but we're fighting walking poo. So yeah, we get the thing.
Kids next door.
And here we have the Slugger.
Cutting glove gives unbelievable headache.
And it kills these dudes in like 3 hits. And we have to kill all these toilets. Now, when we kill the toilets, it spawns enemies. But the good thing is, whenever we destroy another toilet, it will wipe out the previous spawns from destroying the other toilet, so it actually works out pretty good. And the level only checks for progression if we destroy the turd men. The toilet paper men have nothing to do with it. That's a very surreal sentence out of context, it's just dawned on me. Circle straight for that guy. Get over here. We would have been saving our super energy for here, but I'm pretty sure the super attack for the Slugger is bugged in some way, because it doesn't do any additional damage. It takes 8 supers to destroy the toilet, and 8 regular attacks as well to get it. Now, something I've been working on here that would involve not having to get the box here, but it's a very precarious, out-of-bounds situation. So I have yet to even think about working it into a full run, or even seeing if it works as a skip. Because it's so precarious that just by balancing along and being able to live through it, you're pretty much losing all the time you would have gained. But so it's all entirely hypothetical. Oh, get through the hole. And we're coming up actually to the end of the level. I did say this level was short, even though there's no, like, skips in it. That guy just got annihilated, like, as soon as he existed. This door opens. We bypass some enemies.
Oh, now you've done it. Just look at what you've done to my room. Number 4 is taken off the gloves.
So yeah, and now this isn't actually a boss fight. I just have to race the toilet nader to the top of my room, where I have a solid bronze toilet that both of us are in a race. He wants to flush it, and we're not going to let him do that. I don't know exactly what he wants to do, what flushing it will accomplish. I don't remember. I don't usually play this game with the plot intact. So yeah, there's that. And the boss health bar actually fills up as opposed to going down, depending on how close he is to... I don't think that's the way I usually go, but I'm glad it worked out.
Ready or not, toilet breath, it's time to find out who's getting flushed and who's doing the flushing.
Now, you don't actually have to make it to this platform, you just kind of have to touch it. It's weird. 612, note that down, yep. Yeah, I found that out the hard way. In one run, I didn't quite make the jump and fell basically to my death, but the game still registered me as winning the level. Now, after this cutscene first of all. Now, what we're seeing there, that we would have seen if we didn't skip all the cutscenes in the game, is that every time we've beaten a boss, those characters there, Cree and the delightful children from down the lane, have taken something from them and used them to bust them out of the prison cells we've keeping them in, and they're going to take them to the moon to make a giant supervillain and destroy the Kids Next Door moon base. Because we're on the moon, apparently. And this, Operation Moon Trip, is the final shmup level. And it's 16 minutes long. I am not making this up. I wish there was a way to shorten this level, but there isn't. Okay, actually, I'm lying. There is, but it's not until we get to the boss fight that becomes on the cards. Now, this one is actually, as far as, not just as a speed level, but as a level in general, this is quite difficult. We actually have to pay attention, at least past this first area, and play it like an actual shmup level so that we don't die. So yeah, this is essentially the second to last level in the game before the final boss, which is its own level. So we are very, very slowly coming up on the end of the run. But until we get there, there's not a whole lot to talk about. I mean, it's a shmup. You shoot the enemies with your bullets and don't get shot by their bullets, unless you have your shield up, in which case get shot as much as you like. Pretty bad advice for life generally, but it works in video games, so who am I to judge? So if I go quiet here at all, that's pretty much just because I'm not very good at filling dead air. Okay, now we're coming up to these asteroids, which is like the first sort of area transition, you know, like the clouds in the other two levels. So we're going to get to the back, and we want to be directly in the center for this animation, so we're going to damage boost through there, and be as close to the center as possible, so that we can start that animation. There's, I think, 5 of those segments before the boss. You'd think I would know these things better. I mean, I'm only the world record holder after all. You'd think I would know the game that I have a world record in, but apparently not. Oh dear. I swear, no matter how much it sounds, I have been practicing this game. I just haven't been streaming it because I've not been doing full runs. I've just sort of been poking about. I made a save file on an emulator with all the hardest bits on save states, so I can practice things like the vampire level, the door clip that we did as number 4. That's incredibly difficult to practice on console because there's a checkpoint right after it. So if you want another crack at it, you've got to play the whole level again. It's a lot easier to do on emulator. We have a triple shot, by the way. That's not something we've had before in this game. I swear, normally there's dialogue here. I'm not entirely sure what happened, or if the dialogue just hasn't come in yet. Because normally when you have the dialogue off, you can still hear the in-game music dipping in volume whenever dialogue is supposed to be played. It's kind of surreal, actually. But that's not happening here, they're just not saying anything. Let's just take in the scenery. You've got the moon over there. It actually is getting closer every time we do a level transition. You can see Planet X there. I don't think that's ever mentioned in the show, they just sort of put it there. It's like a fun little, just a fun little gag, as it were. Now we're going to use a thing here, because when these two dudes show up, that means we're getting near the end of this segment. And we want them to die as soon as possible so that we can actually transition the screen. There we go. We wait a little bit longer on the animation. You see there we had to slowly drift back into position. And there the moon is getting closer. But it's a lot better than just waiting for those guys to go off the screen.
No telling what those delightful dopes are up to.
There we go. Got a little bit of dialogue. And the music cuts out for some reason. And now these dudes are bad news. You see them, those lasers they fire? Those can't be shielded at all. And they're very annoying to deal with. They take up a lot of screen real estate. I don't know why I decided to use that then. It's probably not an opportune time, but oh well. Okay, there we go. I was a little worried that we missed the spare part by doing that, but okay. We got rockets now. We got the homing rockets. So that's going to make some of these enemies that like to fly out of our reach a little more manageable. Because yeah, even though we can only move on a horizontal plane, the enemies can move on a vertical plane, just to mess you up even more. And we took a lot of unnecessary damage there, although we came out of it decently thanks to the copious health drops that happen in these stages. So yeah, we want to be using the chicken soup basically as little as possible. I know technically it has a different name in these other two levels, but it's funnier to call it the chicken soup. I mean, come on. It's chicken soup weaponized. Who's doing that? Nobody. Except for this game. Actually, I'm sure that'll probably be an item in like the next Binding of Isaac booster pack or something. Chicken soup, HP up, and tears up, or something. Something along those lines. That sounds like something goofy that'd be in that game.
Isn't there some kind of soup in Wind Waker?
Probably. I don't know, I'm not too much of a Zelda person, to be honest.
So I was asking before, is there something worth betting on for the end of the game? Is there something that may happen, may not happen?
Oh, no. Not really. Not that I can think of.
All right, looks like we're going to go with the oldest one in the book, evens or odds for the final digit of the time.
What have we got riding on it?
Trash bags, which the top 3 trash bag holders at the end of the marathon get their choice of some terrible, terrible games.
Oh, lovely.
We've got Dora's Birthday Adventure on DS, Over the Hedge on DS, and Imagine Babies on DS.
Oh, Imagine Babies.
Yeah, one of which cost 99 cents at GameStop.
I mean, this game, as I said, was 50p. Like, less than $1. Like, that's about, I think, like 73 cents or something like that.
Yeah, look how much entertainment you got for such little money.
Yeah. We've hit the 2-hour mark. I'm not sure what this is in game time. I guess we'll find out in about 15 minutes, including the final boss level. All the spare parts. Now we have a quad shot. One of the most fun part of these shmup levels is the boss at the end of this one, just like meat-shotting them with rapid-fire weapons. It's surprisingly satisfying. That's also the weird thing about this level compared to the other shmup levels, is that even though it's the longest one by far, I think it's like just a little bit longer than the other two combined. It's the only one with a skip. You can actually skip a phase of the boss at the end of it. Like, it's like way more of a skip than just saving a smart bomb for the, or saving a chicken soup for the fight with the common cold at the end. Even though you're doing the same thing, just by bringing a chicken soup into the fight, you're able to skip a cycle. Which is why we're holding on to it, except for areas where taking out enemies is what advances the screen. Which I'm pretty sure there's only one of. I'm not sure if there's 1 or 2 level transitions left in this stage. I think we've been in this level for about 10 minutes now. So there shouldn't be too much longer of just scrolling left. Okay, that was an enemy transition. I would have been closer to the center of the screen if I'd remembered that one. So, okay, I'm certain of it, then this will be the final area. This will be the final enemy area before the boss, at any rate. And this one ends with a meteor segment, I remember that much. But we want to make sure we have chicken soup ready. So, even though we're going to be using it in these sections, we want to Just make sure that we're able to get them charges. Which is good, because these dudes rapid fire like a whole bunch. And even though we're taking a bunch of damage, we're going to try not to use any more of it if we can help it. Because the enemies drop enough health for us to get through it, thankfully. And that giant wave that we just got through, that's pretty much the meat of it that we have to worry about. Actually, the meat of it is these annoying dudes who spawn behind you. I'm not entirely sure why they thought that was a good thing to put in the game, but they did.
Star Fox 1 did that as well.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, and it sucked.
Yeah. Those who do not remember the past, yada yada yada. Okay, we might not have chicken soup as we go into this transition. Okay, no, we do, never mind. I was going to say, even if we don't, there's a few enemies at the start of the next area that even it out. Health? We're not at full health, but we don't really have to worry about that, because even though we're going to damage boost hit through here, the boss of this level is probably the easiest in the game. I mean, you can just sit in one spot and get health for free, doing nothing, while you're waiting for the boss to become damageable. We're taking a silly amount of damage. Get a damage boost here. And now there'll be a couple more enemies before we fight the delightful children from down the lane in their flying mansion.
What? What are you talking about, number 3?
My seatbelt! It's too tight! I feel trapped!
Hello? I'm trying to fly here.
At least the dialogue's on point. Like, I'm pretty sure they got the writers of the show. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure they did. Okay, here we go. Plenty of health, and here comes the flying Death Star mansion. Now those lasers come down, and we're gonna do this.
Something like that. Yeah, I do that.
Stop it! That's not fair!
Now we're gonna take a hit from these lasers coming up, but it doesn't matter. We just kind of sit here, and our homing rockets will take care of the lasers that we're not aiming at. There'll be more lasers as the fight... Sorry, I bumped the microphone there. There'll be more lasers as the fight goes on, but we don't have to worry about those. We just, like, adjust our position a little bit, and they'll be taken care of. So yeah, welcome to the easiest boss in the game. Bit of an anticlimax for the second to last boss. Now we get another one of these, and we bring the shields down, and we basically just do this a couple of more times, and we're good.
I think the gamma ray is our only hope.
That space station sure is awfully big. Can I be on their side?
Number 3?
I'm kidding, silly!
Fun fact, they did a crossover episode with Billy and Mandy one time. Actually, they did a couple, and in one episode, number 3 became the Grim Reaper. Just thought that was a fun fact. That was a good crossover one they did. The Grim Adventures of the Kids Next Door, if anyone wants to go and watch it. It's a pretty fun episode by both shows' standards. And there's even a few other Cartoon Network shows in there. I know Ed, Edd and Eddy have a scene at one point early on in there. Check it out.
Crossover episodes were always either really, really good or really, really shit. I still have nightmares at the Jimmy Neutron Fairly Odd Parents crossover.
Oh, they made like 4 of those, didn't they?
I saw the first one and then I was very done.
Oh no, they made like 3 or 4 of them. Because I remember there was one of them where the setup was literally Jimmy and Timmy get bored, so that Jimmy invents them a new villain. And there's like a joke at the start of the episode where they give him like all these evil powers, but they forget to give him actual evil values. So his idea of evil things are like, he kicks some dirt onto their shoes and then he goes, "Mwahaha! I have made your shoes moderately filthy!" That's the caliber of humor we're working with. This is the last cycle of the boss, by the way, so as soon as it starts shooting, like, regular bullets again, which is now, and this is going to be the end of the level. There we go. 1625, as long as it always takes. And now we're coming to the final boss, the Amalgamation, on Operation Lunar Rumble. There's no skips for this one, but there are techniques to basically lock the boss into a desirable pattern. And once this level is done, that'll be the end of the run. Sure, whatever. Sorry about that. Don't worry about it, does that all the time. Sorry.
No panicking.
No, sorry, just a friend of mine went to the bathroom and the dog gate collapsed. Does that all the time. So yeah, now this is a mecha fight. The entire Kids Next Door... Yeah, the entire Kids Next Door moonbase just turned into a mecha. And basically, we just stay well the fuck away from this guy, and he will hopefully never jump away. I don't know why he's coming disturbingly close. My guy, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, our super meter in this fight gradually fills over... Can we use it, please? Gradually fills over time. So we want to be using it basically as soon as it comes off cooldown. And hoping that he doesn't use that goddamn Knightbrace, like, fluoride beam that he has. Because it's incredibly difficult to dodge. Knightbrace continuing to be a thorn in my side, even in death. It's a very precise timing to be able to get him to... Oh, jeez. Oh yeah, and there's, like, little tiny fuckers flying around, pardon my French. There's, like, little tiny... dudes flying around that sometimes the game just decides, no, you gotta lock onto this guy instead of the boss who's currently attacking you. So yeah, this guy will go into the second phase once about half his health. What is the lock-on doing? I've actually, in my world record run, I lose like a minute and a half because I die because of lock-on shenanigans like that. Like, you can barely even see those dudes that are flying. See, it just did it again. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. And we used it on... Did we? Oh no, okay, the super attack goes to the boss even if you are locked onto something else. Cool. Good thing is you break these rocks, you get health. So I'm going to take a quick detour, get some health. Where's the boss? Where has the boss gone? This is... Oh, he's gone over there. Ow. What hit me? And okay, normally we don't want him to come over here, but I guess we're coming over here. And never mind, it's on the second phase anyway. This phase is a lot easier to manage, because we kind of just spam jump attacks, and he doesn't know what to do. Yeah, it says use melee attacks, because at this point, we've run out of missiles, and we have to fight him on mano a mano, as it were. And the idea is just by using jump attacks, we can permanently stagger him. Oh, get some health, just to be safe. Oh, but sometimes he gets far enough away and he does that. But if we ever take a hit, it's just a matter of using regular attacks to get him back into the stagger pattern. And of course using super attacks where applicable. Now, like the other melee characters, you can technically get double hits as the tree moth, but I'm not sure if it actually does more damage. And even if it did, I have no idea how to do it reliably.
Don't look now, dear Knightbrace, but your amalgam of what's-it is about to become just another crater on the moon.
Not before we return that robot of yours to the junkyard it crawled out of. Peace. Bye. Peace.
So yeah, this is kind of an uneventful final boss. Time's gonna be coming up in just a little bit.
Why combine 6 bad guys whose butts we've already kicked? Don't they know we're just gonna kick 6 times the butt this time around?
And not time yet. Or yet. Time. And I didn't look at what the final time was. Okay, can someone clip that real quick? Okay, okay.
I'm seeing 2:13:23 on our end.
No, I mean the final time of the level. It was 4:24. I just checked on the stream. Okay. 4:24. You got that? Have you been adding them up?
No, I've just gotten the times. I'm going to add them together now.
Oh, okay. Alright, do that. Okay, so that's the end of the game, and now we're just waiting on finding out what the in-game time edition was. In real time, that's decent, about a couple of minutes slower than the world record, than my PB, but I'd imagine that's mostly because the game crashed. So yeah, that was a pretty solid run. No real major disasters aside from that one death that we didn't want to take, but that didn't lose us too much time. And now I guess this is just the credits level. Oh, pause the timer, please. I'm not quite sure how to keep it paused. And this is just the credits level where you just shoot the names of the people. It's just like an optional thing. We don't time this. Just in case you didn't get enough shmup action. So yeah, that's Kids Next Door. Maybe you understand now why I am the only person who runs this game, or maybe you want to run it yourself, who knows. If you don't, though, I don't blame you. Still, though, I've had a good time. It's a fun game to route, and it's a fun game to run, in my opinion. It's been a pleasure. I am an idiot, and I deaf muted instead when I tried to mess with the timer. Whoops-a-daisy.
Oh well.
So sorry if there was just silence coming through for like a solid minute or so. I accidentally hit my deaf mute hotkey. But yeah, that was a decent run. I'm satisfied with it. If there's anyone watching who either wants to run the game or now understands why I'm the only person who runs it. Ooh, okay, so not quite world record. We were still like a few minutes behind. Oh well. Not in-game time, that is. In-game time, that was just a little bit over 2 hours. Yeah, that'll be that, I suppose.
All right, thank you so much for the run. It was fantastic.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, it looks like up next we will have Pack and Roll Remix 100% coming up in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and throw us over to a Be Right Back screen really quick while we get everything set up for that.
You do that.